What is going on, my fellow Omi homies? It's Foster, and I'm back at it again with another VeVe and Ecomi video. Guys, if you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. And if you are watching this video right now and you are not subscribed, please feel free to do so down below. It is the only financial advice that I will ever give you on my channel. Guys, today I wanted to go over something that I don't talk about a ton on the channel. I have mentioned VeVe, but obviously my channel does primarily surround Omi tokenomics, Omi valuations, and breakdowns in that regard. I wanted to go over a little bit of my VeVe collectible portfolio today. I did a breakdown of my year in review for 2021. If you haven't seen that video, I would highly recommend checking it out. In that, I documented how much money I've made in all of my investments in 2021, and the overwhelming best performing investment that I have had so far in 2021 was the VeVe Collectibles. So many of you in the comment section indicated that you wanted to see a little bit of my portfolio, so I decided I would make a video. I would show you some of the collectibles that I hold that I believe will go up the most in value, and what my collecting strategy will be coming into 2022. So with that being said, unfortunately I wasn't able to pull it up. There was an issue resetting my password for some reason, but Ecomi Wiki is a great site. You guys should all check it out. It's run by Omi the Clown, and he does a great job of putting together vault portfolio valuations. He has all the collectibles on the website, and essentially you can input all the collectibles that you own, and it gives you the valuation of your collectibles at the current floor value of each collectible. So I did that in my portfolio, and I'm sure it was probably on the screenshot for the video title, is $136,000, which is just absolutely incredible to say. I've invested about 16,000 Canadian dollars, which is about 13,000 American. So I've essentially over 10x'd my portfolio in the last year. Given that I'm not a very good collector and I've definitely made some mistakes along the way, it's pretty incredible to see that even someone like myself, who isn't the most knowledgeable when it comes to the independent fandoms, can still do incredible things with VeVe. And as the user base continues to grow, I imagine that that will only continue to increase. I also want to give a huge shout out to Brendan Cherry with Cherry Charts. It's another service that is offered in the community, and he gave me access to this, so I really appreciate him doing that. It gives you all the breakdowns of different areas. It gives you the picks of the day based on the market caps and where the collectibles are headed. The weekly picks, you can break down a collectible by market cap to see if it's overvalued or undervalued. And I wanted to pull up a specific section in here. It's called Multicharts. And the reason that I wanted to do that is I wanted to show you, and I'll get into it in a moment when I actually show you my collection, but these are some of the collectibles that I own. So as an example, this is the Amazing Spider-Man #1 secret rare comic book, which I was fortunate enough to get on the drop. So when it came out, it was $6.99. And there's only 600 copies of it in the world. And my wife and I were fortunate enough to get one. It is currently at floor about $12,600. So as you can imagine, a $7 investment netting $12,600 is a pretty good ROI on your money. So as you can see on the chart here, it's done pretty well. It's stagnated somewhere around September, and it's been trading kind of within a predetermined range here for the last 4 months or so. The second collectible that I own is the Todd McFarlane #100 Batman. So this collectible, it's funny because the charts don't even actually go back as far as this collectible's been out. This was the actual first collectible that was dropped on the app itself. So this came out back in October of 2020. I was not around on the app at the time. I did not join the app until April of 2021, but I was fortunate enough to pick up a Todd McFarlane Batman for $325 on the secondary marketplace. As you can see, the lowest that it was is about $425 because this was only tracked as of July 1st. And as you can see, over the last couple months since September, it has seen a steady increase, and it is currently at its all-time high of $7,890. The third collectible that I own, and is the most valuable collectible that I own to date, is the Walt Disney partner statue. So I was actually fortunate enough that my wife got 2 of these on the drop. And now I know what you're saying. Oh my gosh, she must have 10 devices. How did you do this? It's actually incredible. She got one of them on the actual drop itself, And then she got a second one on an 8-minute rebound, which was absolutely incredible. Now, because we invest all of these together, she was nice enough to send me one of them. So that was very nice of her. So I currently have one on my account and she has one on her account. But as you can see, when it came out, it started at about $3,400 and it has steadily increased over time to its current valuation of about $16,500, which is pretty incredible when you think about the fact that it was a $333 investment. Finally, the next most valuable collectible that I hold is the Captain America Ultimate Animated. It didn't see a lot of love when it first came out. The reason for this being, and for those of you that do not know, this is not an FA or a first appearance Captain America on the app. This came out, and because the Marvel Mighty Steve Rogers got the FA tag, they didn't end up giving this collectible an FA tag. And for a lot of collectors, FA is very valuable. So because of that, it didn't get a lot of traction for a long period of time. Now, I didn't sell it. We were lucky enough to get it on drop, so we spent $400. And as you can see, it hovered in, a 2x range, $700 to $800 for at least a month or two. And then it saw a little bit of love. It went up to about $2,600 back in September, and then it traded very sideways for about 4 months. And then just recently, I think people are starting to understand the value in these blue chip collectibles, and it's gone up from about $2,000 all the way to about $6,500. So it's doing quite well. And something that I want you guys to focus on when you're looking at the charts here, and this point is going to become very apparent when I go to the next screen, is look at the trajectory and the trend of the charts. All of these are trending upwards. I would classify every single one of these collectibles as a blue chip on the VeVe app, whether it be, FA SpiderMan comic, whether it be the first collectible that came out on the app, whether it be the Walt Disney Partner statue, or a really sought after high quality premium statue from Marvel. All of these are trending in the upward direction. And the reason that I think that this is important is I'm going to show you some of the other collectibles that I own as well. And I'm going to show you why investing in blue chips and things that I believe are going to have value long term are what I'm going to be focusing on in 2022. This chart looks a lot different than the other chart that I was just showing you. It either has remained very stagnant or collectibles have actually gone down in value. All of these collectibles I have owned at one point, and I wanted to show them to you because I think it was important to illustrate this. Actually, that's not true. I didn't own this collectible, but I threw it in as well because I think it's important to understand scarcity versus popularity. We look at the first collectible here. This is the Lucky Rabbit. So this was a Comic-Con exclusive secret drop that was only announced 15 minutes before it came out. This came out back in July of last year. It was the wrap up to the Comic-Con weekend, and it wasn't announced anywhere by VeVe. It's just if you happen to be on the app at the time and were looking around, you saw that it had came up, and there was only 1,000 editions of them that came out. So I was lucky enough to get one on the drop. It was $90, and you could see that it immediately went up to about $2,000. And then over the next couple of months, it dropped down all the way to about $1,000. And I thought about selling it, but I believed that it would go up in value. This is right at the end of Marvel month, was the end of August. So this is its lowest point. There was a big gem squeeze in effect in the app. People were trying to get as many collectibles as they could. People had no money, so they were selling off other collectibles. So people were selling this collectible to get other collectibles. Then as you can see, after Marvel month, it did a big rise. It went all the way up to $4,600. And that was back in October. And I actually thought about selling it at this point, but I believed that with interoperability coming, that there would be more value with holding this type of collectible. But as you can see, since October, it has consistently trended in the downward direction to where it is right now at about $1,780. I sold this collectible. I sold this collectible somewhere in this range back in December. I sold it for about $1,900. Now, I know some of you might be looking at this and say, oh my goodness, I can't believe you paper handed it. That's incredible. Why would you get rid of it? It was 50% below the all-time high. And I'm going to get into that in a moment, but I think in the interest of full disclosure, it was important to let you guys know that. The second collectible is the white backstab Labbit from Frank Kozik. Now, these Labbits are very cool. We were also fortunate enough to get it on the drop. And I think that that's another important point to make when I'm making this video, is that a lot of these collectibles that I've secured, I secured on drop. So it's not about flipping the collectible for a profit. I had infinite upside, meaning that as long as it was worth more than what the drop price was, I was always going to make profit, and there was very little downside. for this collectible, which was $90, this collectible that was $40, when they're up at $2,000, you're going to make a good profit, whether they drop down to $1,500, whether they go up to $2,500. At that point, you really have no loss. So at any point, it's acceptable to take profit. If you look at the white backstab labbit, you can see that when it came out, it went to immediately $1,750. And it fluctuated in a range for several months. It didn't fluctuate too much, maybe 10 or 20% in either direction. And then back at the beginning of January, it got a crazy pump up to $2,500. This was based on a rumor that came out from the artist saying that these collectibles would be breedable. The team has since come out and clarified that just because an artist makes a statement doesn't mean that it's actually going to come to the app. If that statement was not made by the artist, I believe that this collectible would still be trading in this range. And as you can see, that over a period of 3 months, this collectible really hasn't done very much. And if anything, it was trending in a downward direction before this announcement came out. The third collectible is the Dragon Girl Gold. So this is a secret rare that completes a set on its own. And it was $1,700 when it first came out after the drop. I didn't secure this, but a buddy of mine did. I do believe that he's still holding it, but as you can see, once again, it came out and it went up to about $2,300, and then since it came out at the end of October, it's been consistently trading in a downward direction, losing about half of its value from the all-time high. Finally, the Designer Con Ride the Lightning board, which was a collectible that came out that had only 250 editions, I believe, or it might have been 150. It came out during Designer Con. It was a gold skateboard. It looked pretty cool. And it immediately went for like $9,000. Now, there was an issue with this board where some people were delivered a duplicate or were assigned the incorrect mint number. So I think that that likely hurt its valuation a little bit. Well, they fixed that issue. But regardless, as you can see, people were buying this board at $9,000, and now it's worth about half of that. So all of these collectibles, except for this collectible, which got a bump from the artist making an announcement that doesn't sound like it will happen necessarily, have trended downwards and have lost 50% of their value over their all-time highs. Conversely, when you look at all of these collectibles that I'm holding, they are either currently tied with their all-time highs, trading sideways but in an upwards trajectory, or they've far surpassed and are currently at all-time highs. Now, why is this important? I believe that this is important because it goes to show that we are going to run into an issue with market saturation. Now, what do I mean by market saturation? Market saturation is a concept wherein the supply far outweighs the demand, and because of that, money leaves those specific areas and moves into other areas. And as more of that happens, things get spread out even further, and it makes it even more difficult to put value on collectibles because there's not enough money to go around. We already know that VeVe and Ecomi are estimating $1 billion in revenue from collectible sales in 2022. That is a 10x from the numbers that they did in 2021. Now, I do believe that the user base will also trend quite drastically in an upward direction, but we've seen it time and time again when big collectibles come out, people move funds out of collectibles that they've already made profit in, or they even sell at a loss to try and secure the next drop that comes out. And as we get more collectible drops on a weekly basis, as we get more physical drops, as new verticals are introduced, it's going to become very apparent that certain collectibles that are on the app just simply don't have any value because the user base that wants these collectibles is not met by the amount of money that is available to go into them. And I think a perfect example of it, and once again, not to harp on the Ride the Lightning board, but just because something has 250 editions does not make it valuable. We have seen collectibles that have gone up exponentially. The partner statue has 4,333 editions. The Batman Todd McFarlane statue has 7,500 editions. These are all going up to the same numbers or above where the Ride the Lightning board is. And the Ride the Lightning board has like 1/20th or 1/40th of the circulation of these collectibles. And the reason for that is because people understand the value proposition with these collectibles. They understand Disney. They understand what it means. They understand DC and the fact that Todd McFarlane was the first Batman on the app. They understand Marvel and the Captain America, the Storm, the Spider-Man. People understand these because they're worldwide brands. Lincoln Design Co., as cool as they are and as grateful as I am to have them on the app, are native specifically to Los Angeles. So unless you live in the Los Angeles area and you also have $9,000 that you want to spend on a skateboard, you're not going to buy that collectible. And I see it time and time again with drops that come out that don't have a lot of value, but people will put value on it because it has a low amount of collection editions, because it's on the VeVe app. And that in and of itself is not enough to warrant value, in my opinion. So that takes me to my strategy for 2022. So this is my VeVe app, guys. I wanted to pull it up on the screen so that I could show it to you. You guys can check out some of my collectibles. And on top of that, you guys can add me as a friend. I'm going to post a collectible at the end of this video. And I want all of you guys to add me as a friend. And I'm going to add each and every single person that adds me. I want to build up my friendship on VeVe. I haven't been focusing as much on the showrooms, interacting with people. But I think as we move into the VeVe-verse, and it's going to be nice to be able to go and visit everyone's showrooms, check out what everyone else has going on, check out their plots of land. So I'm going to throw that in the description at the bottom to let you know what collectible I've listed, or maybe I'll even do it live and we will check that out. I think it's going to be really awesome. So this is my collection. I have the sets pulled up here. Actually, I'll show you guys my profile. This is me. This is Foster. Hello, guys. So I have 39 sets and 258 collectibles. As you can see, I have 89 followers, which I think is kind of cool. I think that that's awesome that you guys have followed me, because for those of you that don't know, it's almost impossible to find people right now on the app. So thank you all for the people that have followed me. If you're following me and I'm not following you right now, I'll make sure to change that. Like I said, I think it's really cool to be able to follow everyone and get that OG status. We were here at X date and we started following each other before X thing happened. So I think that that'll be really cool. So like I said, 39 sets and 258 collectibles. And this does not include the collectibles that are on my wife's account. So my wife does have a Superman. I have a Superman as well. My wife has a Walt. I have a Walt as well. And she has a couple other collectibles that aren't quite as valuable, but I think her valuation is probably somewhere in the $10,000 range, and that actually hasn't been accounted for in the portfolio valuations. I did include the Walt, but I didn't include the Superman or anything, so that's interesting as well. So this is my profile, as you can see here. These are the collectibles that I've chosen to show off right now. So this is the partner statue that we were able to secure. This is one of my Steamboat Willies. I actually own two of them, the ultra rare. My Todd McFarlane Batman, and then my Superman. The reason that I don't have comics displayed is you can't actually display comics on your profile yet, but I imagine as they add in that functionality on the showroom, you will be able to do that soon enough. So I'll go over some of my collection, some of the sets that I have. The Powerpuff Girls Series 1, I actually bought all of those in the secondary market. I thought that it would be important to get those. The reason being, I just think that they look really cool, and there's not that many editions of them. I own most of the Snow Globes, didn't finish the Secret Rare, though, because it was like $1,600, and I didn't have the liquidity to do so. Didn't get a lot of the Batman Series 1, 2, and 3, but I did finish Series 5 because I was on the app at the time to do so. Of course, the Series 1 is the Todd McFarlane Batman that I own. As you can see here, as we go through, that's the Superman that I own. This is something that I'm really proud of. I do own all of the Disney Golden Moments, as you can see here. And I also have duplicates of some of the collectibles. So I have 2 Elsas and I have 2 C-3POs. I wish that I had had even more money at the time to invest in these collectibles. I do have the entire Steamboat Willie set. I have 4 commons, 2 uncommons, and 2 ultra rares. I didn't finish the Voltron set, didn't finish the Labbits. And I think it's important as I go through this, guys, like I explained at the beginning of the video, I want to start transitioning into investing in collectibles that I believe will have value long term. So as a perfect example, I spent a lot of money on the Mickey Mouse Steamboat Willie collection, because I believe that long term, regardless of the edition size, these collectibles will have value. So I had absolutely no problem spending the money. During Disney Plus Golden Moments Week, I think I landed 1 drop. It was the Star Wars drop that I got. Every other collectible, other than obviously the Waltz that my wife got, we purchased on the secondary market. So this was a quite expensive week. I think I spent $6,000 of the like $13,000 that I've spent on the app just on this week alone. to give you an idea of how expensive that specific week was. As we go through, you can see I thought the James Bond series would do a little bit better, so I completed all of those. I do have the Captain America series complete. I do own 10 common Deadpools. And I think that that is interesting. The reason that I own 10 of them is because I missed the boat on the Spider-Man, the entire series, but specifically the common. For those of you that don't know, it was selling for at or below retail when it first came out because it had 32,000 editions and people just didn't think it was going to be valuable. But as we move on, and this is the point that I really want to hammer home with you guys, is it doesn't really matter what the edition size is if it's a big enough IP and people can relate to it and people want to interact with it. So even though a 32,000 mint Spider-Man common collectible came out, it's still going for upwards of $500 now per collectible, even though it has 32,000 editions, because people understand the value in it. Whereas a collectible that has a much smaller following, even though it has a smaller drop size, will not have that same amount of money flow in, because once again, when the market becomes oversaturated, people aren't going to focus on those things. So that's the one thing that I really want to hammer home in this video. I know that's probably already gone a little longer than I would have liked it to, but I'll just finish showing off some of my sets here so that you guys can see kind of the things that I've been focusing on. I actually recently just finished the Storm set. It's something that I hadn't put a lot of effort into originally, and I actually own 10 of the uncommon Storm. I like the pose that she's in, and I went out and got a bunch of sub 1,000 collectibles and just over 1,000 collectibles because I felt like that was going to be really valuable as time goes on. I see her doing something not to the same scale, but similarly to what happened with Spider-Man and similar to what is happening with Captain America right now. I think eventually I will flip sets like Star Trek if they don't fly in the VeVe-verse. I just don't care about them enough, and I don't think that they hold a lot of value. I completed the Mermacornos because they were cool, and I think my daughter will like them, so I finished those. Ultraman is another one that I think is being slept on right now quite a bit. We don't have localization yet, but when localization is introduced into the app, we will have support for a lot of other languages outside of English. We'll start to see new fandoms. We'll see the animes. We'll see the things that are native to the APAC region. And Ultraman is massive in those areas, and I think he's being slept on. So I did finish that set, and I did overpay for Ito, but I wanted to make sure that I had it. And then as we wrap up, I do have the stamp sets. Shout out to Dan Schaubel. He was the one that really told me I should focus on completing at least the first series set of the stamps. I didn't understand the value of the stamps, but he really set me straight on that one. So thank you very much to him for doing that. The DeLoreans was actually the first collectibles that I bought on the app. So fun fact for that, back in April when I first started. And then I also have the hoverboard set. So that's just a quick overview of, like I said, some of the collectibles. I don't have a showroom or anything set up. They recently just did an update, and I think it's easier to move the collectibles around now, so I really should get on doing that. But I just wanted to give you guys a quick overview of what my account looked like, the things that I'm collecting, and the things that I'll be focusing on moving forward. So once again, to reiterate, I'm going to be focusing on blue chips. A blue chip might be different to you than what it is to me, but for me, it's going to be something that has recognized IP and that, regardless of edition size, has a following that outweighs that. And I believe, you know, as a perfect example, they could drop Star Wars, they could do 100,000 editions of Boba Fett, and I think that people would still buy them just because there's that much of a fandom for it. So just remember that, guys. Obviously, at the end of the day, collect what you love, collect what you enjoy. That's really what this app is about at the end of the day. But if you are someone that is looking to make some money coming into this year, focus on the things that will always continue to have value regardless of what else ends up on the app. If Pokemon gets announced, what collectibles are still going to hold value, and what collectibles are people going to sell in order to acquire that? And if you're looking at a collectible and you believe that you own it and it's not going to withstand that test of time, then look for a good opportunity to exit, take advantage of cherry charts, take advantage of a Comey wiki, ask people around in the community if you see anyone in the spaces, reach out to me directly and I can help you look into it as well. And just focus on the things that I said are going to have value as more people come onto the app. That is how you're going to be successful, and that is how I believe my portfolio is going to continue to grow coming into this year. Once again, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. As always, I really appreciate the support. I know I haven't been making as many videos as I would have liked. I've been busy. I recently got my vaccine shot, and that wore me out a little bit, but I will be making more content. We do have the OMI migration for the token coming up in the next couple of weeks, so that is very exciting. I'm hoping we will see some exchange listings and some other things coming along with that as well. So stay tuned for all of that content. As always, reach out to me in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys think about all this. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I think I'll be listing a TODD and a Walt statue for $9.9 million. So keep an eye out for that so that you guys can add me. And once again, if you add me, I will make sure to add you back. Thank you all again for the support. I love you all. Peace.